Welcome back. Lincoln currency. In the vast world of coins, few are as common, and yet as underestimated, as the humble 1-cent coin. To the average eye, the 2000 Lincoln penny is just another glint of copper in your change jar, a throwaway piece at the bottom of a car's cup holder. But dig deeper, and what you'll find is a story so rich, so layered, and so unexpected, that it may forever change the way you look at your pocket change. Because while most of these coins are still worth exactly 1 cent, some rare versions from the year 2000 have fetched thousands of dollars at auction. And in numismatic mythology, whispers speak of versions valued as high as $65 million, with errors so unique and rare that only a handful are known to exist, if at all. But how does a coin so ordinary become so extraordinary? To understand that, we have to go back, not just to the year 2000, but even further, over a century into American coin history. The 2000 Lincoln cent weighs 2.50 grams, with a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, and a smooth, unreeded edge. Though many believe it to be copper, it's actually composed of a zinc core with a thin copper plating. Just 2.5% of its mass is copper. That composition was adopted in 1982 when the rising cost of copper threatened to make the penny more expensive to mint than its face value. Before that, pennies were primarily bronze, an alloy of 95% copper. But by 2000, the standard had changed, and the coin in your hand was just another drop in a sea of over 14 billion Lincoln cents minted that year. The obverse features the right-facing bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, originally created in 1909 to mark Lincoln's 100th birthday. On the top rim, the timeless motto reads, "In God We Trust." To the left, the word liberty. And to the right, the date 2000, and depending on the mint, either no mint mark for Philadelphia, or a small d for Denver, or an S for the proof version struck in San Francisco. The reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo and introduced in 1959 to replace the earlier wheat ears. At first glance, it seems static, even boring. But if you look closer, through a magnifying lens or macro camera, you can actually see the tiny figure of Lincoln seated inside the memorial. It's one of the few U.S. coins that depicts the same person on both sides. Above it, the phrase United States of America. Beneath that, E pluribus unum. And at the bottom, 1 cent, boldly inscribed to remind us of its supposed value, but value is not just what's stamped into metal. It's what people are willing to pay for rarity, for beauty, for flaws, and for stories. And the 2000 Lincoln cent has stories hidden in plain sight. Coins like the Wide AM variety, the mysterious Cheerios promotion, mistruck error coins, and immaculate mint state examples that defy the wear of time. In a world where billions of pennies were churned out like mechanical afterthoughts, there are a select few that break the mold, sometimes literally. The Wide AM, for example, is the result of a reverse die used incorrectly on a business strike coin. It's subtle, look between the A and the M in America. Normally, they're close together. But in this variety, they're widely spaced, an error meant for proof coins that found its way into general circulation. Finding one can mean an instant payday. Even in circulated condition, a Wide AM can command over $30. In mint state, the price climbs fast, $500, $800, sometimes more. And that's just one variation. Then there's the Cheerios cent. In the year 2000, General Mills partnered with the U.S. Mint in a promotional campaign to ring in the new millennium. 10 million boxes of Cheerios cereal included a bonus, a sealed Lincoln cent dated 2000, marked as the first coin of the new millennium. Some even included a 2000 dated Sacagawea dollar. The cents, though standard in appearance, came packaged in a distinctive plastic holder with vibrant design, making them collectible just for their origin. But rumors soon circulated that some of these Cheerios cents were struck with specially prepared dies, leading collectors to hunt for ultra-rare strike characteristics, die polishing lines, or subtly different detail levels. And when coins like that are sought after in a population of billions, values can soar. Cheerios cents in their original holders are often worth $6 to $10, but if a rare, well-preserved example turns up with high-grade luster, it can sell for hundreds, or even over $1,000 if graded MS68 or higher. There's also the matter of error coins. These are coins that, by accident or miscalculation, leave the mint with striking anomalies, off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, missing layers, coins struck on the wrong blank, like a dime planchet, or even overstruck coins that bear features from multiple denominations. These types of errors can transform a 1-cent piece into a $500, $5,000, or even $20,000 payday. And the 2000 Lincoln cent is no exception. Certain known error coins from that year include off-center strikes, broad strikes, struck through errors, and even coins struck on foreign or incorrect planchets. One especially famous example, a 2000 Lincoln cent mistakenly struck on a dime planchet. The result? A coin with Lincoln's design, but thinner, lighter, and silver in appearance. Such a coin can easily bring over $10,000 at auction, depending on condition and certification, and then there's grade. In the coin world, condition isn't just vanity, it's currency. A well-circulated 2000 penny is just 1 cent. But a coin graded mint state 67 or 68 red? That's a different animal entirely. Those coins shine with full original red luster, unblemished surfaces, and razor-sharp strike detail. Out of billions minted, only a tiny fraction ever qualify at this level. Most coins get scratched, nicked, or toned over time. But pristine, untouched examples, often hoarded directly from mint rolls, can achieve legendary prices. In recent years, certified MS68 red examples have sold for over $3,000 at auction. A perfect MS69? Theoretically possible, though almost unheard of. And if one ever surfaced, it could become one of the highest-priced modern Lincoln cents in existence. When you hear talk of a 2000 penny worth $65 million, it's not a recognized auction sale, it's likely theoretical, promotional, or referencing an extreme hypothetical scenario. But even so, it's rooted in the truth that in numismatics, anything is possible. All it takes is one coin, one error, one perfect storm of history, rarity, and desire. And the value can skyrocket, but even setting aside the spectacular, the 2000 Lincoln cent is a beautiful piece of living history. It's a bridge between centuries, minted at the dawn of a new millennium. It honors a president whose face has remained on our coinage longer than any other. It connects us to an American tradition of minting, metalworking, and the idea that even the smallest coin can carry the weight of a nation's values, liberty, trust, unity. And for collectors, it's a gateway, affordable, abundant, and still hiding secrets in plain sight. Every penny you find in your change could be a sleeper, a wide AM, a Cheerios promo, a high-grade beauty, or a misstrike waiting to be discovered, and if you're lucky, if you know what to look for, you might just find a coin worth far more than a cent. When we talk about coins, we're not just talking about metal, we're talking about markets. Supply, demand, condition, scarcity, and hype, they all converge in a way that can turn a tiny coin like the 2000 Lincoln cent into a hot commodity overnight. The U.S. Mint produced billions of these coins in Philadelphia and Denver alone, roughly 5.5 billion from Philadelphia and 8.9 billion from Denver. At face value, they are still just pennies. But even among billions, there are differences. And in the collector's world, it's the differences that create value. Let's talk about one of the most discussed varieties in the entire Lincoln Memorial Cent series, the 2000 wide AM. Normally, in business strike coins like the 2000 penny, the letters A and M in the word America are closely spaced, almost touching. But in a small number of coins from that year, the A and M are separated by a noticeable gap. This is because the mint accidentally used a reverse die that was intended for proof coins in the production of some business strikes. This mistake resulted in a small but noticeable design variation that became known as the wide AM variety. In circulated grades, wide AM examples can bring anywhere from $20 to $75, depending on condition. But in higher uncirculated grades, mint state 65, 66, 67, they become highly sought after. A brilliant red example graded MS67 can easily sell for $800 or more. The record price so far for a 2000 wide AM in top condition sits around $5,000, achieved through auction houses where elite collectors compete for population-topping specimens. Grading plays a massive role in the value of these coins. Coin grading, in its modern form, is handled by professional services like PCGS and NGC. The grades run from poor, P1, to perfect, MS70 for uncirculated coins and PR70 for proof coins. Most pennies, even those kept in decent condition, struggle to break into the MS65 range. The reason is that Lincoln cents are small, prone to contact marks, and often stored or handled in less than perfect ways. Only a fraction of the coins ever minted, less than 0.001%, achieve MS67 or above. And when they do, the market notices. A 2000 Lincoln cent, perfectly struck and flawlessly preserved in MS68 red, becomes not just a coin, but a trophy. A symbol of perfection among billions of imperfections. Collectors with deep pockets are often willing to pay thousands for such pieces, not because the intrinsic metal is valuable, but because the condition is vanishingly rare. But that's not the only avenue to profit or prestige with this coin. Take, for example, the Cheerios cents. Issued in special packaging as part of General Mills' partnership with the Mint, these coins were never intended to be rare or valuable, at least, not at first. But collectors love stories. And what's more compelling than a coin tucked into a box of cereal, a modern-day Cracker Jack prize that turned out to be more than just a gimmick? Cheerios cents kept in their original packaging tend to fetch between $6 and $15, but some collectors believe the earliest strikes, those potentially using new, sharper dies, could be sharper or more defined than others. When sent to grading services and given a high grade, the value can spike. One such example graded MS68RD sold for over $1,500, all because someone kept their coin sealed in its original blister pack and stored it safely for over 2 decades, and then come the error coins. Coins with misstrikes are among the most exciting finds in all of numismatics. They bring unpredictability to the hobby, an element of surprise. A coin struck off-center by even 10 or 15% becomes a curiosity, a desirable oddity that might sell for $25, $50, or even more depending on the severity. A coin with a die clash, where the dies themselves collided without a planchet between them, can leave ghostly images and become highly collectible. A coin struck through grease, missing design elements, or exhibiting doubling in the lettering. Each has its audience. And once in a while, a true anomaly is discovered, like a 2000 penny struck on a dime planchet. Lighter, silvery, and with design elements visibly incomplete, these coins are dramatic and instantly valuable. Sales in excess of $10,000 have been recorded for clean, certified examples of wrong planchet errors, but even for coins that have no dramatic errors, no celebrity packaging, and no die varieties, the market still holds potential. The key is condition. For every 2000 penny that's been through the ringer, scratched, worn, grimy, there are a handful that have survived in pristine, mint-sealed rolls. Collectors call them original bank rolls, and they are often stored for years before being cracked open by dealers or hobbyists. A coin freshly pulled from such a roll might gleam with full red luster. And when that coin is submitted to PCGS or NGC and returns with a high grade, the value is not just marginally better, it's exponentially higher. MS66 coins may sell for $30 to $70. MS67s can reach $200 or more. And the rare MS68s are the crown jewels, often commanding $1,000 to $3,000, depending on the population. The role of population reports cannot be overstated. These reports, available from grading services, show how many coins of each date and type have received each grade. If a coin is the only MS68RD ever graded, it becomes a Population 1 coin. That gives it instant prestige, and often results in a bidding war if it appears at auction. The market thrives on rarity. Rarity of type. Rarity of variety. Rarity of condition. Rarity of survival. The 2000 Lincoln cent may be common in the abstract, but in the details, in the nuances, it offers countless possibilities. That's why collectors hunt rolls. That's why people bring jars of pennies to coin shows. That's why, in the middle of an average weekday, you might find someone with a loupe and a flashlight at their kitchen table, turning over each penny with the care of a surgeon. They're not just looking for copper. They're looking for a story. A chance. A window into a world where the smallest things can carry the greatest weight. Experts often advise newer collectors to start with Lincoln cents. They're accessible, inexpensive, plentiful. And because the mint has produced them for over a century, there's a vast field of varieties, types, and errors to explore. The 2000 penny stands near the end of the Lincoln Memorial Series, just before the design was retired in 2008 and replaced by the Lincoln Bicentennial cents. In that sense, the 2000 cent is both a product of the modern minting era and a living connection to over 90 years of American numismatic tradition. From wheat ears to marble columns to shield designs, the Lincoln cent has evolved, but its symbolism remains rooted in the core values of the United States. As for that infamous $65 million valuation, it's important to separate fact from fiction. Number 2000 penny has ever sold for that price. However, the concept likely originates from speculative articles, exaggerated marketing, or purely hypothetical rarity scenarios. Imagine, for instance, that a 2000 cent was discovered to be struck on an experimental planchet, or over a rare coin from another country, or contained an unknown die error never before catalogued. In that kind of one-of-one scenario, if authenticated and believed unique, then, yes, the numismatic world could produce a price tag in the tens of millions. It's not guaranteed. But the mere possibility is what fuels the hunt. After all, stranger things have happened. The 1943 copper cent, once thought to be an impossibility, sold for over $1.7 million. Who's to say lightning couldn't strike again? Collectors are driven by curiosity, by passion, and sometimes by profit. But most of all, they're driven by the thrill of discovery. The idea that something extraordinary can be hiding in the ordinary. That a penny you've had for 20 years might turn out to be the missing piece someone's been hunting for their entire career. That's the magic of coins. That's the reason the 2000 Lincoln cent, despite being one of the most common coins in America, remains one of the most intriguing, because no matter how many were made, no matter how many people overlook them, somewhere out there, one coin might still be waiting to be found. The difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth thousands of dollars can come down to a single millimeter, sometimes less. A fraction of a space between two letters. A hairline mark invisible to the naked eye. In the case of the 2000 Lincoln cent, it's often the difference between a wide AM and a close AM. For those unfamiliar, this is where coin collecting transforms into a precision art, where a magnifying glass becomes more important than a metal detector, and where lighting, angle, and patience reveal truths that the casual observer will never see. When inspecting a 2000 penny, the first place a serious collector will look is the reverse, the back side of the coin. They'll flip it, gently, often with cotton gloves, and study the word America. Not all of it. Just the A and the M. In the standard, close AM, design used for business strikes, the bottoms of the letters A and M almost touch. They're tightly kerned, the space between them nearly vanishing. But in a wide AM design, the gap is noticeable. A sliver of space exists between the letters, and once you've trained your eye, it becomes second nature to spot it. But it doesn't stop there. Advanced collectors also check the position of the initials FG, representing designer Frank Gasparo. On a wide AM, the FG initials are positioned further from the base of the memorial building. On a close AM, they appear closer. These markers together form a kind of fingerprint, proof that the coin was struck using the wrong reverse die, one intended for proofs. This error has made its way into circulation in small numbers, and identifying it correctly is where value is born. But with value comes imitation, and this is where things get dangerous. As the price of wide AM pennies has increased, so too has the number of counterfeit attempts. Some involve altering the spacing with micromachining, a kind of surgical reshaping of the letters using tools or acid. Others involve swapping reverses from other proof coins and creating hybrids. In most cases, trained graders can detect these with ease, but online marketplaces are flooded with questionable examples. That's why serious collectors either authenticate coins through a professional grading service or buy only certified specimens already encapsulated by PCGS or NGC. These holders include a barcode, serial number, and the assigned grade, creating a digital chain of trust. Even then, advanced collectors remain cautious. They examine the coin's luster, strike sharpness, surface integrity, and color, red, red-brown, or brown. Color can make or break a coin's market value. A full red coin, with its original coppery luster intact, is vastly more valuable than the same coin dulled to brown through oxidation or circulation. Grading itself is a meticulous process. When a collector submits a coin to be graded, it is first logged, photographed, and stripped of any identifying marks that could bias the grader. Then, multiple experts examine the coin under controlled lighting, magnification, and rotation. They're looking for hairline scratches, bag marks, weak strikes, die breaks, and signs of artificial toning. The goal is to assign a number on the Sheldon scale that reflects the coin's quality. A 65 might be nearly flawless to a layperson but still have enough tiny flaws to prevent it from reaching 66. A 67 might appear perfect, but under magnification show a small mark in the field. Only a handful reach 68. And 69 or 70. Those are the unicorns. Rare, almost mythic, and always expensive. That's why a 2000 Lincoln Cent graded MS68RD can command several $1,000s, while one in MS66RD might fetch under $100. The leap in value between each grade, especially at the upper end, is steep, and that's where opportunity lies for those who know how to hunt. Searching for these coins isn't just a matter of checking your change. It's methodical. It's ritual. Collectors often begin by purchasing rolls or bags of unsearched pennies, usually bank-wrapped or obtained from coin dealers. Some go through $25 boxes from the bank, unrolling each sleeve, checking one coin at a time, eyes scanning for signs of red luster, signs of doubling, anything unusual. They sort by year. Set aside 2000s. And from there, the close examination begins. They use digital calipers to confirm diameter and thickness. They use 10x or 20x magnifiers to analyze the date, mint mark, spacing between letters, and the condition of Lincoln's cheek and jawline, common areas where first appears. Some even take microscope photographs and compare them to known die pairings catalogued in reference books or online databases. And when a promising coin is found, it's immediately placed in a 2x2 cardboard flip or plastic coin capsule to prevent contamination. Storage is critical. A red coin can tone to red-brown in just a few years if stored improperly. Exposure to moisture, air, PVC plastic, or heat can destroy value. Serious collectors use inert holders, silica gel packs, and climate-controlled safes. They track coins by spreadsheet, by collection app, or even by handwritten logs, noting where it was found, what variety it may be, and whether it's been submitted for grading. For many, the hobby becomes a lifestyle. They attend coin shows, auctions, conventions. They network with other collectors, follow registry sets, and track market trends like traders watching a stock index. And yet, with all the science and all the technology, there remains an unexplainable magic to it. That heartbeat moment when you spot something off. A reverse that shouldn't match the obverse. A color that shines brighter than the rest. A flaw so unique, it makes you stop and question everything. That's where the most valuable discoveries come from, not the obvious coins, but the ones hidden in the background. The unknown die pairing. The subtle misalignment. The coin with doubling not yet recognized by any database. These become discoveries. They get names. They are catalogued. They enter auction history. A collector somewhere might become famous, not for what they bought, but for what they noticed. And if that coin has the right elements, rarity, condition, eye appeal, provenance, it could become one of the highest-priced Lincoln cents in existence. What drives a collector to spend hundreds of hours looking through pennies? What makes a person study 1,000 coins just to find one worth keeping? It's not just profit. It's purpose. It's the belief that value hides where others overlook. That even in a pile of what seems mundane, something magnificent might be waiting. And the 2000 Lincoln cent, with its unique moment in time, its minting anomalies, and its overwhelming mintage numbers, becomes the perfect symbol for that belief. It represents opportunity. A gateway. A mystery. A challenge. It is both a relic and a riddle, offered up by the United States Mint and passed through the hands of millions, some indifferent, some unaware, and a few who understand what it might truly be worth. The hunt continues. Boxes are searched. Coins are graded. Forums debate each subtle difference. Collectors wait for the next discovery, the next confirmed error, the next unique combination of minting mishaps and perfection that turns one coin into legend. Whether that coin already exists, sitting unrecognized in a collector's basement, or whether it has yet to be found, the pursuit is alive. And in that pursuit, even a single penny can become priceless. Sometimes, it's the smallest things that carry the greatest weight. A coin that barely covers your fingertip, thin and forgotten by most, passed from hand to hand in gas stations, coffee shops, and convenience stores, can end up carrying an entire story, one not just about money, but about identity, time, and meaning. The 2000 Lincoln cent isn't just a coin. It's a marker in time. A bridge between centuries. It came into the world at a moment when the world itself was changing. The turn of the millennium. The fear of Y2K. A generation teetering on the edge of the digital era, unsure of what was to come, but certain that something new had begun. In your hands today, the 2000 penny is not merely copper-plated zinc. It is a time capsule, struck by machines but imbued with human experience. On one side, a man who led a nation through its bloodiest chapter. Abraham Lincoln's gaze on the obverse is not one of arrogance but of thought. Of burden. Of resolve. That image has been pressed into over 500 billion coins since 1909. It's the longest-running portrait in U.S. coinage history. It's seen wars, recessions, civil rights movements, elections, innovation, and upheaval. That face has moved silently through American life for more than a century, bearing witness from pockets and jars, glove compartments and dresser drawers. And on the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial, a place etched into the American conscience. It's where Martin Luther King Jr. stood and spoke of dreams. Where protesters have gathered. Where tourists pause and reflect on freedom, struggle, and progress. That building, captured in miniature, serves as more than background. It is a symbol of permanence, enduring, solemn, proud. It is no accident that the man and the monument share a single coin. The 2000 penny, in particular, is a coin that stands at the crossroads of eras. It was struck during the final decade of the memorial reverse. 8 years later, in 2008, that design would be retired. In its place came the Lincoln Bicentennial Series, followed by the Union Shield reverse. The 2000 cent exists in that narrow window, familiar to many but often overlooked. And yet, even within that overlooked year, we find so many stories. The wide AM variety, the Cheerios promotions, the proof errors, the struck-through grease anomalies, the off-center double strikes, all of them turn a coin into a conversation. They turn a moment into a memory. A penny that was never supposed to be anything more than small change becomes instead a riddle, a mystery, a work of art, a prize, and still, more than anything else, it becomes a teacher. It teaches patience. Attention to detail. Curiosity. It teaches us that value isn't always obvious. That sometimes you have to look closer. That even something mass-produced can become rare. That a mistake in the minting process, something that once would have been discarded, can become a source of fascination, even wealth. These lessons extend far beyond coins. They apply to the way we live, to the way we look at the world, at people, at moments. The hobby of coin collecting is not just about accumulation. It's about appreciation. It's about seeing what others miss. It's about finding beauty in imperfections. It's about noticing what no one else has noticed. And it's about holding on to history with your bare hands. There's something romantic about searching for these coins. About running your fingers across a roll of pennies, knowing that one of them might change your life. About studying light, color, spacing, date alignment. About waiting weeks for a grade to come back, knowing that the number inside a plastic slab might affirm what you already hoped was true, that your eye caught something special. For every collector, there's that first moment. The moment you find something unusual. The moment your heart skips. The moment you flip the coin over and realize that maybe, just maybe, this isn't like the others. Maybe this one has the wide spacing. Maybe this one was struck on a foreign planchet. Maybe this one is the one. And even if it's not, even if it turns out to be just a regular 2000 cent, what you've gained isn't lost. You've sharpened your instincts. You've paid attention. You've connected to a wider community of people who care about details, who believe that the ordinary can contain the extraordinary. That's the heartbeat of numismatics. That's the essence of why we search, why we grade, why we preserve, why we tell stories. Because a penny isn't always just a penny. And when you hold one from the year 2000, you're not just holding change, you're holding potential in the economic sense, sure. But more than that, potential in the symbolic sense. The potential to find treasure. The potential to learn. To teach. To marvel. To connect. That's what this hobby offers, and that's why coins like the 2000 Lincoln cent continue to capture the imagination of collectors around the world. Not because they're made of precious metals. Not because they're rare by mintage. But because they exist at the intersection of accessibility and mystery. Because they reward those who care enough to look closer. Because they remind us that stories don't always announce themselves. Sometimes they come in a coin toss. A forgotten drawer. A box in the attic. A roll from the bank. A fluke of fate. So the next time you see a penny dated 2000, don't pass it by. Don't flick it into the tip jar or leave it on the ground. Hold it for a second. Look a little closer. Check the letters. Feel the weight. Think about where it's been. Who's held it? What moments it has traveled through. Think about the mint that struck it. The machines that pressed it. The history embedded in its surface. Because it might be just a penny. But it also might be something much, much more. And if you're one of the few who knows how to see it, really see it, then you've already found something valuable. Whether or not it ever goes to auction, coins like this are still out there. In coin jars, in bank rolls, in cereal boxes sealed 2 decades ago, in circulation waiting to be found. There are discoveries still waiting to happen. Not just coins worth $5,000 or $50,000, but maybe, one day, one worth $5 million or more. And the beauty of it is, anyone can find it. You don't need $1 million to start. You don't need a museum. You just need your eyes, your curiosity, your persistence. And a coin no one else thought to question. The 2000 penny may never be as glamorous as gold, never as heavy as silver, but it is something else entirely. It is a mirror of the time it came from. A token of patience. A whisper of the past, passed into the present. And for those who listen closely, it tells a story richer than anything money alone could buy. And now that you've seen the story unfold, now that you've walked through the minting, the errors, the mysteries, the values, and the legacy of the 2000 Lincoln penny, the question becomes, what will you do with that knowledge? Because knowing is only half of it. The rest is action. The truth is, this coin could be sitting somewhere near you right now. It might be in a handful of change left over from a late-night drive-through run. It might be at the bottom of a change cup, the kind people ignore in a rush. It might be inside a roll of pennies you pick up at the bank tomorrow, just another coin in a $25 box that others skipped over because they didn't know how to look. But you do now. You've seen the difference. You know what a wide AM looks like. You know the signs. The spacing. The markers. The initials. The feel of a coin that just might be something more than a coin. You know that when the A and the M are wider than they should be, when the FG initials sit just right, when the fields are smooth and red and free from wear, you could be holding something thousands of times more valuable than its face. You've learned that a 1-cent piece can sometimes carry 6 figures of value in the right condition. And it doesn't take a professional numismatist to find one. It takes patience. It takes eyes willing to focus. And it takes the belief that somewhere, mixed in with the common, the rare is quietly waiting. Some of the most valuable finds in coin collecting haven't come from million-dollar collections. They've come from everyday people. A postal worker who spotted a mule error. A teenager who noticed a misaligned die. A retired teacher who submitted a penny from her old coin jar and saw it come back graded MS68RD, the only one of its kind. These moments are real. And they start when you decide to look. So go ahead. Check your change. Ask your bank for a box of pennies. Bring home a few rolls and start the search. Use a magnifying glass. Compare the spacing. Learn to recognize color: red, red-brown, brown. Get familiar with mint marks. Look for die clashes. Study the light as it hits the surface. Get comfortable flipping each coin in your fingers and listening to the sound it makes as it lands in your keeper pile or back in circulation. Over time, your eyes will sharpen. You'll start to see what others miss. And then, maybe one day, you'll come across a penny that feels different. You'll hold it a little longer. You'll turn it over again. You'll squint at the AM, and then you'll realize, this might be it, and when you do, don't let that moment pass. Store it properly. Use an archival quality 2x2 flip. Avoid PVC holders. Keep it away from moisture, heat, sunlight, and skin oils. If the coin looks high grade, if there's minimal wear, strong luster, and full red color, consider submitting it for professional grading. Start with PCGS or NGC. You can register for an account, fill out the submission form, and ship your coin safely. Yes, there's a cost. But the return could be monumental. Graded coins also provide protection, authenticity, and value stability in the market. Collectors and investors alike trust slabs. And once your coin is certified, you can join collector registries, track auction comps, or even list your coin for sale. But remember, it's not just about the money. It's about the process. The joy of discovery. The feeling of finding something that shouldn't have been there. It's about learning to see deeper. Whether you keep it, trade it, sell it, or pass it down to someone who'll appreciate it, the value is in what it teaches you. The 2000 Lincoln cent can be a gateway into a hobby that spans history, design, metallurgy, economics, and personal passion. It connects generations. It bridges the old with the new. From wheatbacks to memorials, from proofs to errors, from copper to zinc, it's a universe of stories, and you've just stepped into it, so keep looking. Don't stop at one roll. Don't stop at one year. Once you find one interesting coin, you'll want to know more. And soon you'll be learning about double dies, RPMs, transitional errors, off-center strikes, and rare die pairings. You'll start carrying a loop in your bag. You'll start checking your pocket change again. You'll stop seeing coins as just money, and start seeing them as miniature time machines. And when someone asks you why you're still picking through pennies when everyone else is using plastic or tapping their phones, you'll have a quiet answer. Because maybe, just maybe, there's one in there. The one. The one that changes everything. That's the spirit of coin collecting. That's the magic of the 2000 Lincoln penny. It's not just a coin, it's a chance. A chance to discover. A chance to learn. A chance to connect with history in a way that few ever will. And it starts the moment you reach for the next coin, turn it over in your hand, and ask the one question that changes everything: what if?